In China, some roads do more than cross mountains. They seem to challenge the very limits of nature. In today's journey, we will explore some of the most remarkable transportation projects in the country, where towering peaks, deep valleys, and unforgiving terrain have created challenges that once seemed almost impossible to overcome. From railways cutting across frozen plateaus, to tunnels carved deep through massive mountains, to giant bridges stretching above cloud-covered valleys, each structure tells a story of engineering, endurance, and the human desire to connect distant places. Along the way, we will also encounter winding mountain roads with dozens of sharp turns, leading through landscapes that feel both majestic and dangerous. This is not just a journey through transportation. It is a closer look at how humans have pushed through some of nature's toughest barriers. Soaring into the clouds above the rugged landscape of Sichuan, the Yaxi Expressway is a 149-mile mechanical ribbon that completely defies gravity. With an investment of $3.3 billion, this Sky Road forces vehicles into a relentless vertical climb, ascending 24 feet for every 0.6 miles of track. The extreme geography forced engineers to abandon flat ground entirely, constructing an unbelievable network of 270 monumental viaducts and 25 deep mountain tunnels. To overcome sudden altitude shifts without exceeding safe gradients, the route features the world's first small-radius dual-spiral tunnels, spiraling internally through the solid rock like a giant corkscrew. Driving this route feels like an aerial flight, as the road glides over deep, swirling river valleys and punches through the towering Nibashan Tunnel, a massive 6.2-mile tube buried 5,413 feet beneath the earth. It transformed an agonizing, multi-hour mountain crawl into a swift 10-minute subterranean sprint. The Yaxi Expressway is not just a transit corridor. It is a terrifyingly beautiful display of architectural dominance, a vital economic lifeline suspended high above a treacherous, earthquake-prone wilderness. Carved into the sheer cliffs of Zhangjiajie, the ascent to Tianmen Mountain is a dizzying combination of extreme aerial transport and chaotic road engineering. The journey begins on the Tianmen Mountain Cableway, an astonishing 4.6-mile mechanical lifeline that drags passenger cabins through the clouds, overcoming a terrifying vertical drop of nearly 4,199 feet. The cars glide silently over jagged limestone pillars and deep forested ravines, entirely at the mercy of unpredictable mountain winds. Below this aerial path lies the Tongtian Avenue, a relentless ribbon of asphalt packed with 99 overlapping hairpin bends. This road was blasted directly out of the mountainside, twisting violently upon itself as it climbs toward the summit. Every turn is a blind, high-stakes maneuver with a massive vertical drop just inches from the tires. The extreme geometry of the route was specifically designed to reflect celestial symbolism, turning a brutal mountain climb into an iconic test of nerve. Together, the cableway and the 99 bends form a breathtaking mechanical assault on an otherwise impenetrable peak. Hovering majestically above the steep, mist-shrouded Dahang Canyon in Hunan Province, the Aizhai Bridge is a stunning suspension structure that completely bypasses the treacherous winding roads below. Completed in 2012, this bridge features an unbelievable main span of 3,858 feet, and sits at a terrifying height of 1,164 feet above the valley floor. To conquer the sheer limestone cliffs, engineers utilized a groundbreaking separated tower and beam structure, anchoring the colossal carbon fiber suspension cables directly into the solid rock. The construction process was an intensive battle against extreme terrain and harsh weather, pushing the boundaries of mechanical innovation. Driving across this bridge offers a cinematic, high-altitude sprint, cutting a grueling 30-minute mountain crawl into a seamless 60-second flight over the void. The massive steel trusses are painted a striking red, providing a vivid contrast against the deep green forests of the gorge. The Aizhai Bridge is not just an essential economic artery. It is a breathtaking display of structural endurance, proving that an immense transport machine can effortlessly float over one of the most punishing landscapes in central China. Riveted directly into the sheer face of a towering quartzite sandstone cliff, the Bailong Elevator is a mechanical anomaly hidden within the dense mists of the Zhangjiajie National Forest Park. Unveiled to the public in 2002, this incredible structure holds the title of the tallest outdoor elevator on Earth, shooting passengers up an unbelievable 1,069 feet in a matter of seconds. Constructing a heavy transport machine on a vertical, ancient rock formation forced engineers to dig deep internal shafts and anchor massive steel tracks directly into the crumbling mountain face. The glass-walled cabins offer a terrifyingly fast, unobstructed view of the surrounding monolithic pillars that inspired the floating mountains of cinematic lore. The sheer speed of the ascent drastically reduces a grueling multi-hour mountain hike into a rapid vertical sprint. It is a masterpiece of extreme utility, a cold, steel, and glass box completely exposed to the elements, proving that modern engineering can flawlessly merge with the raw, prehistoric power of the deep canyon. Suspended high above an impenetrable valley in Hubei province, the Sidu River Bridge stands as a terrifyingly beautiful triumph of deep gorge engineering. When it opened in November 2009, this massive structure shattered records, with a staggering height of 1,627 feet from the bridge deck down to the river surface. With a main span of 2,952 feet, the bridge forces drivers into a literal flight over the void, completely isolated from the wild terrain below. In a display of sheer mechanical audacity, engineers fired the first pilot cable across the 1,600-foot-wide valley, using a military-grade rocket, a groundbreaking technique never before used in bridge construction. The towering H-shaped pylons and heavy steel trusses are designed to withstand violent mountain storms and unpredictable thermal drafts. The Sidu River Bridge is not just a high-altitude highway. It is a raw, steel monument to human ingenuity, proving that even the most hostile, vertical landscapes can be conquered by extreme innovation. Boring deeply beneath the legendary mountain spine that divides northern and southern China, the Qinling-Tunnel Highway Tunnel is a staggering feat of subterranean survival. Open to traffic in 2007, this 11.2-mile dual-tube corridor was engineered to conquer the isolating peaks of the Qinling Mountains, fundamentally revolutionizing the logistics between the Guangzhou Plain and southern Shaanxi. The sheer depth of the route demanded a colossal network of vertical ventilation shafts, towering up to 1,300 feet, to extract exhaust fumes and supply life-sustaining air into the pressurized depths. Millions of vehicles traverse this enclosed passage annually, completely bypassing the perilous, weather-choked surface roads that once crippled winter travel. The Qinling-Tunnel Tunnel is a quiet, mechanical vault where raw architectural ambition meets the crushing silence of the earth, proving that precise engineering can tame the most formidable mountain ranges. Penetrating the deeply folded topography of the Tibetan Plateau, the Lhasa-Nyingchi Railway represents a masterclass in linear engineering against a violently fractured landscape. Opening as Tibet's first electric railway, this 270-mile high-speed corridor operates at an average elevation exceeding 9,842 feet, demanding unprecedented structural solutions. The route was forced to carve its path directly through formidable mountain ranges, resulting in a staggering 47 tunnels and 121 bridges that make up 75% of the entire track. To bypass the treacherous alpine peaks and deep gorges, the railway crosses the furious Yarlung-Zangbo River 16 times. With an investment of $5.5 billion, this infrastructure allows bullet trains to glide smoothly at 100 miles per hour, drastically cutting travel time across the rugged southeastern terrain. This monumental railway completely revolutionized the region's logistics, bridging the dramatic geographical gap of the plateau and turning an impassable mountain journey into an effortless, high-speed sprint. Suspended over a terrifying vertical drop in Guizhou Province, the Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge is a colossal steel monument that completely redefines the limits of high-altitude engineering. Soaring an unbelievable 2,050 feet above the turbulent waters of the Beipanjiang River, roughly twice the height of the Eiffel Tower, this structure claimed the title of the world's tallest bridge. Engineered to span the massive Earth's Crack Canyon, the bridge stretches 9,481 feet in total length, anchored by a mind-boggling main span of 4,658 feet. Erecting this massive steel truss girder suspension bridge required unprecedented precision, as heavy construction crews battled extreme mountain winds and complex canyon geology. The final 473,000-pound steel girder was hoisted flawlessly into the clouds, locking the monumental towers together, slashing a grueling 2-hour mountain detour into a rapid 2-minute aerial sprint. This bridge is a vital artery for regional economic integration. The Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge acts as a majestic steel crown over the abyss, a terrifyingly beautiful intersection where raw mechanical ambition completely conquers the unpredictable, destructive forces of the Earth. Dominating the rugged border between Guizhou and Yunnan provinces, the Beipanjiang Bridge stands as an awe-inspiring triumph of extreme aerial engineering. Soaring a terrifying 1,853 feet above the dark, swirling waters of the Beipan River, this colossal structure physically conquered a massive geographical void. Spanning 4,400 feet, the bridge forces drivers into a high-speed flight across the clouds, bypassing an agonizingly slow and dangerous mountain detour. Constructing a massive cable-stayed bridge at this staggering height demanded absolute precision, as engineers battled violent crosswinds, complex karst geology, and unpredictable weather systems. The use of advanced smart concrete and cloud computing diagnostics ensured the twin concrete towers remained rigid under the immense stress of the steel tension cables. This mechanical marvel earned the prestigious Gustav Lindenthal Medal, proving its status as a masterpiece of modern bridge design. The Beipanjiang Bridge is not merely a highway link. It is a permanent steel and concrete crown suspended over a lethal gorge. It visually captures the delicate, dangerous balance between massive structural weight and the wild, untamed atmosphere of the deep canyon. Ascending into a freezing, oxygen-deprived world, the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain Glacier Park Cableway is a raw mechanical lifeline operating at the very edge of the Earth's atmosphere. This extreme transport system hauls visitors out of the temperate valleys of Longjiang and hurls them straight up the violently steep, snow-covered flanks of a 13-peak mountain range. The cabins battle intense, unpredictable thermal drafts and frequent blizzards as they climb to a staggering terminal altitude of over 14,763 feet. At this height, the air pressure drops so severely that every physical movement becomes an exhausting struggle. The cableway transforms what was once an impossible, deadly alpine expedition into a 10-minute vertical flight. Below the steel cables, ancient, shifting glaciers hide lethal sinkholes, and the rocky cliffs drop thousands of feet into the abyss. It is a stunning display of mechanical endurance against an unforgiving climate, forcing a modern steel thread through a silent, frozen landscape where gravity and extreme cold are the only true masters. Hovering powerfully over the deep, jungle-covered valleys of Yunnan Province, the Longjiang Grand Bridge is an architectural giant that completes the vital expressway to the western frontier. Opened to traffic in April 2016, this colossal steel box girder suspension bridge spans an incredible 8,103 feet, dominating the rugged Baoshan-Tengchong corridor. To achieve a mind-boggling height of 918 feet above the river, engineers had to execute a series of groundbreaking innovations, including the use of an unmanned aerial vehicle to fly the initial pilot cable across the massive void. The construction required a relentless battle against a high-risk seismic zone, forcing the implementation of cutting-edge dehumidification systems and specialized concrete additives to guarantee absolute structural integrity. Driving across this elevated highway feels like a cinematic flight, completely detaching travelers from the treacherous, winding mountain roads below. The Longjiang Grand Bridge acts as a majestic steel crown over the canyon, a terrifyingly beautiful intersection where raw mechanical ambition establishes a seamless, high-speed gateway toward South Asia. snaking through the rugged and mountainous heart of southwestern China. The original Chengdu-Kunming Railway stands as a historic monument to human resilience and grueling physical labor. Designed to bridge the massive geographical divide between Sichuan and Yunnan provinces, the railway had to conquer an intensely fractured landscape characterized by steep valleys and turbulent waters. The route was forced to traverse some of the most dangerous terrains in the nation, crossing the furious currents of the Minjiang, Dadu, and Jinsha rivers, while skirting the imposing cliffs of Mount Imei. Lacking modern tunnel-boring technology, early engineers relied on extended, winding track alignments to lower the steepness, engaging in a lethal battle against unpredictable geology. The resulting infrastructure formed a vital strategic corridor that broke the absolute isolation of the Western territories, providing a critical transportation lifeline for regional economic development. Decades of relentless operation across this hostile environment proved the immense value of this passage, even as rising logistical demands slowly outpaced its aging capacity. The Chengdu-Kunming Railway remains a raw steel spine driven through the mountains, capturing a legacy of grit and endurance that laid the essential groundwork for the modern, high-speed networks that followed. Before the arrival of bullet trains, the Qinghai-Tibet Highway served as the solitary, grueling lifeline across the most punishing high-altitude environment on the planet. Completed in 1954, this 1,200-mile paved artery climbs relentlessly from the Qaidam Basin, crossing the formidable Kunlun and Tongula mountain ranges at an average elevation exceeding 13,000 feet. Navigating this desolate route demands absolute vigilance, as travelers face extreme temperature shifts, blinding blizzards, and thousands of miles of total isolation. Heavy cargo trucks labor up the steep, winding grades, carrying vital supplies into a region where the air is agonizingly thin. The highway remains a raw, mechanical scar carved directly into the roof of the world. It is a historical monument to sheer persistence, a relentless corridor where heavy diesel engines confront the overwhelming, freezing silence of the Tibetan plateau. Stretching across the vast and hostile expanses of the Northwest, the Lanzhou-Xinjiang high-speed railway represents a breathtaking conquest of desert winds and freezing altitudes. As the first high-speed rail line to penetrate the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, this 1,104-mile artery bridges the extreme geographical gap along the ancient Silk Road, The route forces bullet trains to glide at speeds up to 155 miles per hour through a punishing environment where powerful sandstorms and sudden temperature drops constantly threaten mechanical failure. The railway cuts straight across the imposing Tianmen Mountains, climbing to severe altitudes before diving down into the arid basins. This massive infrastructure dramatically redefined the economic flow of the region, seamlessly linking remote desert outposts with the national rail network and cutting agonizing, multi-day journeys into a rapid sprint. The visual drama is striking. A sleek train tearing through an endless, sun-scorched wasteland, totally isolated from civilization. It stands as an unyielding steel spine, a masterpiece of atmospheric endurance, proving that modern engineering can tame even the most desolate corners of the Earth.